Welcome back to another career strategy session with Latika Vines. I'm so glad that you are here today. I want to talk to you today about the topic, what do you do when you don't like your boss? This is a topic that we all can say we've been there. And I can tell you that being in a federal law enforcement agency, I have had good experiences with supervisors and I've had bad experiences with supervisors. And along the way, I have matured, but I will tell you that it has been a little difficult to be um, respectful, to be humble when it comes to supervisors that don't treat you right or you just don't click with them. So, today I want to share with you three things that have worked for me, that have worked for others. When I was going through some things with a supervisor, I had one good colleague pull me to the side and say, Latika, let me give you some tips. So, I want to share these things with you, hopefully, to help you on your journey. So, the first one is to show respect. I know that that is so hard when you have a supervisor who is not respectful towards you, not respectful of your career, not respectful of you as a person, not respectful of you in your position, the position itself. That can just be hard to deal with. But I will say that you must show that respect. That is so hard to do, but you must show that respect. You have to take in consideration that there are other people who are looking at you, looking how you behave, how you react to your supervisor who is non respectful to you. But you showing respect to them, one, you're definitely killing them with your respect, your softness. But you don't want to be in the work environment and you allow your supervisor to take you out of character. So you always want to make sure that you show that upward respect. You may not respect what that supervisor is doing, but definitely respect the position that your supervisor is in. And that could be if you're coming in late, make sure you let your supervisor know. If you need to take a longer lunch break, make sure you let your supervisor know. And I will tell you that one way to show that respect, if you have an instance like that, being late or you need to do something longer or things like that, put it in writing. But show that respect to your supervisor. Two, again, always remain in your character. So it's always good to, have business jargon, to, be a certain way when you are in the office. But it's also important for you to remain in character. Like I mentioned before, you want to show respect to your supervisor. You also want to remain in character. You do not want to step out of yourself, um, your your name that you've built for yourself, for your organization, for your career. You do not want to step out of that. Stepping out of your character will prove whatever your supervisor has said or trying to say or trying to do true about you. So remain in your character. If that means if your supervisor says something to you and it is completely disrespectful, bite your tongue, keep your mouth shut, put your hands behind your back, and play with your fingers, something to distract you from saying something that you regret later, because you're individuals who are in management positions, supervisory positions, leadership positions, do not have the skill, do not have the talent, do not have the gifts, do not have the education. And that is why they are acting the way they are towards you and maybe some of your other coworkers. But you have to remain in your character, remain that peaceful, that loving, that compassionate, willing to get down and do anything for the team type of person. Even though you have a supervisor who is not helping you at the moment, feel that you are appreciated, that that you are not only appreciated on the team but in the organization. And I totally get it. I had one instance where a supervisor, well, let me bring this back. I knew him. He worked in a northern state from us, but I always kept in contact with him. And so there was a position open, and was actually the supervisory position of me and a few of my other colleagues. And so I told this individual about the position, and he came down and he applied and interviewed, and he got the position. So he moved him and his family down here to the DC area. And I thought everything was going smooth. And then there was like a complete halt, because he started to tell people that have known me for years, who worked with me for years prior to me knowing him, prior to him coming down to DC, that I was not the appropriate program manager for leadership training, that I didn't know what I was doing, and that I should be removed from my position. Hold up, wait a minute. I brought you down here into DC. I told you about this job. I told you what to say during the interview. I prepped your resume. I made sure you were straight for this position, and then you turn your back on me? So we would be in meetings, and he would say, okay, Latika, I need you to do this and this and this for me. And I would just sit there at the table. Okay. I would not give him any eye contact. I could not look at him. And it just irritated me that he would go to senior leadership and just say these awful things about me. Now, I'm grateful that senior leadership didn't pay him any mind, but the simple fact that he tried to tarnish my name, the name that I have, just for a few short years, tried to build, and people have respected me. I am a SME in leadership training in my federal agency, and he is trying to mess up my name. What is wrong with this man? And so it took everything out of me to calm myself down. My colleague came to me who saw all of this, and he was like, look, I understand what this guy is doing to you. It's not right, but you have to remain in character. You cannot let what he's doing to you affect your outer body. When you're in meetings, when you are with senior leadership and he's around, you cannot be out of character, because there are people watching you. There's people watching you to see how you behave. They might not see what your supervisor is doing, but they see you. And whatever your supervisor is saying negatively about you, your reactions that they see are going to say, oh, well, what that supervisor said was true. So I had to learn to remain in character. Even though that supervisor didn't do the same towards me, I had to remain in character, be the professional woman that I was in a federal law enforcement agency that is predominantly male. Keep my head up, be confident in myself, and keep on moving. And that was the hardest thing ever, was to remain in character, keep my composure when I was around this supervisor. It was so hard, but in the end, it was so well worth it. And the third and final tip is, do not return evil for evil. They will reap what they sow. And so, you're showing respect, you're remaining in your character, remaining that professional person. Your supervisor at the end of the day is going to be revealed. Um, you may not have to say anything. Some cases you do, but in other cases you don't. Your supervisor's actions will be revealed. But again, you must not return evil for evil. I know it is so easy for us to um, return what is given to us when it is not good. But again, there's other people watching us and they don't know the whole story. All they're looking at is your reaction. And if you're returning evil for evil, all they're looking at is your evil. They're not looking at your supervisor's evil. They're looking at your evil, witnessing it. And what they're going to say is, well, I saw Latika doing this and this and this, and she was very disrespectful. She came out of her character during our board meeting today. They saw my reaction and not the supervisor's reaction. So at the end of the day, I'm the one that's going to be reprimanded. I'm the one that's going to have a bad, something on my record, because of how it behaves, when really I was just reacting to my supervisor. And then it becomes his word against my word against his word. What in the world? So I had to learn that at the end of the day, I cannot return evil for evil. And my supervisor is going to get payback, if you will. He is going to reap what he sows. And sure enough, that is exactly what happened. That supervisor reaped what he sowed. So he did all of these bad things to tarnish my name. He did go to senior leadership about me. And there was one particular person in senior leadership who I knew that I could trust and I could go to. And I went to that particular person and said, hey, my supervisor is doing X, Y, and Z. Here are the emails. Here are the phone messages. Here are the phone calls. Here's everything that he did that I felt was disrespectful. I felt was harassment. I felt discriminatory against. I felt everything wrong that he did. I kept a record of it. And I gave it to senior leadership. And I said, this is what I've been going through since this person has gotten here. And it's been 6 months. And I'm tired. And I'm coming to you because my final straw is to go to EEO and complain about this supervisor. So I was able to provide that information to that senior leader, and that senior leader, said that they will take care of it for me, and in fact, that senior leader did, and that supervisor went their way south. They went down to another division in another state, 1,000 miles away. So it definitely benefited me by being respectful, remaining in my character, even though it was so hard to do, and not returning evil for evil, letting the supervisor reap what he has sown onto me and to others. But I just wanted to share those things with you because I know we all are dealing with that right now. And it is so hard to deal with a supervisor who does not respect you, a supervisor who does not remain in character, supervisor that does not know what they're doing, a supervisor that thinks they know it all, a supervisor who doesn't know what you are doing. Why are you the subject matter expert? But thinks that because they're in a leadership position, they can do and be all. And that is absolutely false. And it can be hard. It can be so hard to be in a position where you have a leader over you doing that. But I will tell you that there is hope. I did during that time start looking for another job, and I didn't find one during that time period. And what that taught me was that sometimes you being respectful, you remaining in your character, you returning, not returning evil for evil, These lessons are for you because you're going to have something like this or worse than this down the road. And it was for me. And it was meant for me to stay in that position to see it end. It was meant for me to see it end. And so when I had to deal with that position or that particular or similar situation a few years later, I knew exactly what to do. And I was able to stop it and go up to my supervisor and say, you know what? This is not working. The way that you are treating me, I feel X, Y, and Z. I was more confident in knowing that I don't have to be treated this way. I have options. I didn't say that, but in my head, I have options. Again, I didn't say that, but in my head, I had the option to leave. I had the option of letting senior leadership know what I was going through, to letting the EO or Diversity Inclusion Office know what I was going through. I had options of letting, other senior leaders not in my chain of command know what I was going through. So I had options to help and protect me during this time when my supervisor or my boss was not being the supervisor that we all expect or want and need from our leaders. So I hope this was helpful to you. We all have been in this situation, but I hope these 3 things will definitely help you as you go through this journey in your career of dealing with a supervisor that may not like you. Well, until next time, you take care. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Take care.